Welcome to the second episode of This Is Why I'm Single, where I share my stories about my love mishaps and give you a glimpse into why I am the way I am, which is alone. Last week we visited the year 2009, but we're going to go even further back in time to the summer of 2008. But first, I need to give you a little bit of backstory. In high school, between 2004 and 2005, I had the biggest crush on this guy that we're going to call Drew. First of all, he was in band, so he played the trombone. He had a smile to die for, Vans skater shoes, and he had that long hair that kind of flipped out at the bottom that was really popular at the time. Just imagine Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. That's the reason they all had the long hair. He appeared to be that overly sweet Christian boy that never stepped a toe out of line, which in my case was slightly intimidating to be the girl that so often corrupts her friends on the daily. Melanie, I am sorry, not sorry for the nude beach scene in Eurotrip. It had to happen. So imagine a montage of cutesy little moments over the next 2 years where we share a couple words in and around classes. And that one time I was talking about him and then he ended up being the person that was walking behind me and it was really embarrassing. I mean, honestly, I swear this was my curse in high school. When I would finally talk about someone to someone, I would guarantee they were somewhere nearby. After he graduated, I only remember seeing him one more time. Someone was talking about there was this hot trombone player playing in the orchestra practice room and I'm like, oh my god, it can only be like one person. Ah! So my best friend and I rush in there and oh my god, it is him. He's there and he's smiling and gives me hugs and I'm just like, oh. Over the summer after I graduated, there was this huge uproar in my hometown about that there was going to be this KKK rally. So people decided to protest over what turned out to be a very small number of KKK members. People got tased, people got detained, and arrested. It wasn't until a month or so later that my coworker that I went to high school with told me that one of the guys tased was Drew's older brother. And when they started tasing him, Drew jumped on the cop and was thusly detained. Sweet little Drew jumped a cop? Are you fucking kidding me? What? I didn't fucking believe it. So, summer 2006, fall 2007, somewhere in there, I built my Facebook. I was still transitioning from having a MySpace page and learning Facebook when I added Drew. Now, I don't remember if I looked him up or I saw him on someone else's page, but either way, I added him as friend. And this was back when Messenger was just a little box at the bottom that was really hard to see and didn't notify you if you had anything. It was very bitter. Finally saw that he had messaged me. What? It had been about 2 years since we spoke and all I knew was that he was in college in Dallas. He was like, hey, how are you? I'm good, hey. If you ever want to go get a beer or something, just, let me know. Damn it. I am only 20. Hey, I can't get into any bars, but I'm doing this play, and if you want to come watch me dance. He's like, okay, sure. Here's my number, just call me. So that Friday, I told him about what time to show up so he can get in, and he never responded. Intermission's about to start, so fuck it, I'm just gonna call. It's 9 o'clock. I call, and his mom picks up. That's cool. My bad, Mom. It's not a booty call. So he's like, hey, I can't get over there right now, but I know about what time it finishes, so I'll meet you outside after it's done. I'm like, okay, well, I gotta go. Bye. Hang up the phone, and I'm like, what the fuck? Is this real life? Is this happening? After I finish the show, I'm totally dawdling, looking around. I'm not seeing him. I don't know where he is. And I'm losing a little bit of faith. So I'm in an almost empty parking lot. Told lots of people that I was, I'm waiting on someone. Remember being in my trunk, trying to look busy. And I was taking the shoes out of my dance bag and folding my clothes and putting them back in. Just trying to make it look like I had a purpose for creeping around my car because he doesn't know what car I drive. Suddenly I see someone coming up on a bike, but the road is completely dark, so I can't tell if it's him or not. It can't be him. So I'm sitting in my trunk so the light's on, and he finally pulls up enough to where the light hits his face, and I'm like, oh my god, it's him. I can't even right now. He gives me a big hug and he's like, hey. And I'm like, what is going on? Hey, sorry I missed the show. Do you want to like go hang out at my place or something? Yeah. I'll go ride my bike back to my house. This is where it is, and I'll see you in a little bit. We had tried to put his bike in the back of my Corolla and failed miserably. Pull up to the address, and I start getting paranoid that he gave me a fake address because there are like no signs of life outside. And then I just like see out of the corner of my eye, he like slips out of the shadows and like heads up to the passenger side window and just kind of like leans in. And he's like, hey. Walks me past the house to a detached garage in the back. I walk in and see it's a very bachelor pad sort of place. He sat on his bed and we were talking and catching up. He said he had moved back because things were expensive or difficult or something, but he was a avid 420 enthusiast and was very upset because his last batch got stolen. He also mentioned that there were people out to get him because of things he had said on the internet and that he had to be careful. So this is where he talked about his very strange MySpace where he put up his like art and music and he had to be really secretive because otherwise they would like find him and know who it was. It sounded like some crazy paranoid shit to me. The strangest thing is he was almost cripplingly shy. He was like nervous laughing and his body language was like so turned in. It's very different from like the confident smiling boy that I remember from high school. Lord knows what other drugs he got into while he was in college. And it just gives me a little kiss on the cheek. I'm bewildered because for me this is 2005 Senpai. But before I knew it, we were kissing. No, his shirt came off, and I don't remember. So after his hands started kind of traveling, I'm like, well, I'll investigate too. Suddenly, he is upright across the room and blaring on his trombone. Nothing that I haven't heard before. And it was fine for like the first 10 minutes. I get bored and start idly going through my flip phone pictures, which holds a capacity of maybe like 20, and reading old text messages, so that costs maybe 5 minutes. He seemed to be enjoying himself, so I just waited out whatever this was for the next 30 minutes. He finally came back and apologized. He explained that playing the trombone really calms him down when he's anxious. So he asked if we can cuddle, and so I oblige. It's midsummer, so it's actually quite surprising when it starts fucking raining out of nowhere. So I ran to move my car because this street in particular really floods quickly. And once I get back, he asked if I minded staying the night. And I was like, yeah, sure. It's already like 2 o'clock, so may as well. It was about 6 a.m. when he decided that he needed to play the trombone again. So instead of just creepily watching, I decided to go watch the rain outside. There was a bench hanging from the ceiling, so I decided to just sit down and just kind of contemplate how in the hell I was still awake on such little sleep, and I figured out it was probably the trombone. Drew finally came out and laid across the bench with his head in my lap, and I started playing with his hair. So after a while, I can actually like see his mom in the window like doing stuff, and I was kind of paranoid that like my car was blocking her in, and I really wanted to avoid her coming out and be like, can you move your car? So I was like, I think I'm gonna go home. He looked kind of sad, but I said I would message him later. I'm driving through all these huge puddles on the way home, wondering what the hell my fucking night was, and if it was too fucking early to call my best friend and give her all the fucking details about what just happened. It was early, but I called her anyway. No fucks. So later in the day, I sent him a message saying, hey, I had fun hanging out. If you want to do it again before I leave for school, let me know. Okay, bye. I also added him on MySpace and looked at some of his work. Oh my lord. Disturbingly beautiful is the best way that I can describe. Out of nowhere, a month or so later maybe, he like deletes me on Facebook, blocks me on MySpace. I still don't know why to this day. It was strange and out of nowhere to me. I just shook it off and moved on. I didn't hear anything for about 2 years when suddenly I get notifications on my phone from MySpace that someone messaged me. I'm confused because people don't use that fucking site anymore. The only reason I had the MySpace app on my phone was because I was trying to show someone some of my old pictures the other day. The strangest part was that all the messages were in Spanish. I didn't recognize the name, so I clicked on the profile and looked through some of the pictures and figured out this is Drew's profile. Like, what the fuck did he just send me? Spanish was like really broken and hard to translate, so I messaged one of my friends and I was like, hey, can you translate this for me? Again, MySpace did not save any messages pre-2013, so I don't remember what they said. But once I texted her what he said, she basically said it was very rude and demeaning towards me. I was dating someone at the time, so honestly, I didn't take it too much to heart. Time jump! My hometown, being a small town, means that something is going to come up eventually. After I graduated college, I needed to find a job for money! I applied at this temp agency that I used to work at, and so they were sending me out on different odd jobs around town at different oil companies. I went to one in particular a couple times. The first time I went, I had to pack files into boxes to be moved. And then the next time I came back, I had to unpack my boxes into file folders at the new location. Apparently, I did these two jobs way faster than they were expecting. I actually went around and were asking employees if I had any jobs that I could help them do. This lady who had a huge stack of files that needed to be hole punched, put into file folders, made labels, and filed away. So I would sit in her office for a couple hours, hole punching like a boss. I was waiting on her to check over my work. I started looking at things on her bookcase, and she had all these frames, and one of them was really cute because it was her Photoshop with George Clooney, and whoever did the Photoshop actually did a pretty good job, and it made me laugh. And then I looked down, and there's a picture of her standing with two blonde boys, one of them being Drew. Are you Drew's mom? Oh yeah, do you know him? Yeah, I went to high school with him. I didn't want to say that I was the chick that was in your garage while your son was playing trombone at like 3 a.m. She tells me how he's living in Austin as like a monk because he doesn't want to have any possessions. So basically he's this like vegan homeless person, and he'll call occasionally, but she can't call him. Oddly enough, it's not that weird to me that he's doing this. So I told her how I just got back from performing in Italy, and she said Drew did a program through the school to do music in Spain, and that he learned Spanish just before he left. Which mentally I'm like, well, that explains why he fucking screamed at me in Spanish. But don't get me wrong, his mom is a very sweet woman. She asks, oh, what's your name? And well, the next time he calls, I'll be sure to tell him that you say hi. Thank you, but you really don't have. Of all the fucking people to run into, I ran into his mother. This was actually the last tie that I had with Drew. Going through people you may know, and he popped up. I clicked on his profile, and oh my god, my heart is broken. The first picture I saw looks like he had just done a shit ton of drugs. He's like morbidly skinny and dead looking. His lovely hair was fucking buzzed off. He's back home doing some construction work, which I haven't run into him. Now there was a newer picture where he looked more like himself and less corpsey. I think it's safe to say that we will probably never speak again, and I can confidently upload this thusly. Maybe he didn't like me commenting on his pictures on MySpace, or he gets really paranoid around people he doesn't know, or maybe, just maybe, he wanted to avoid confrontation because in the end, maybe he just didn't like me back. The only thing that I know for sure is, this is why I'm single. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and please let me know in the comments if you would like another episode of This Is Why I'm Single. Either way, I will see you next week. Bye!
Make your life spectacular.